welcome to a quick demo on how you can easily manage HPE SimpliVity federations from the vCenter. This is the HPE SimpliVity dashboard. It provides you with information on your infrastructure status, such as whether your HPE SimpliVity clusters are monitored by and registered to InfoSight. InfoSight provides AI and predictive analytics for HPE SimpliVity nodes. You can also see failed backups or non-HA compliant VMs if there are any. The cluster space summary gives you the total efficiency provided by a cluster. For this environment, we are getting a capacity savings of up to 98% and space savings close to 80 TB. And this is possible because of the inline deduplication of HPE SimpliVity, which dedupes, compresses, and optimizes data at inception for the life cycle of the I/O. This technology is at the core of all the natively integrated data protection features for HPE SimpliVity. The HPE InfoSight dashboard lets you enable monitoring with a toggle button. From HPE SimpliVity software version 4.1.2 onwards, host hardware can also be monitored periodically. This is with the integration of InfoSight server capability with the HPE SimpliVity infrastructure, and you can give the ILO details here. In this environment, I have two clusters, a local cluster with two hosts under the Brisbane data center and a remote cluster with a single node under the Melbourne data center. Let's move on to the VM Replica Details tab. This is available from HPE SimpliVity software version 4.1.2. As SimpliVity has built-in HA, it creates two copies of data for two nodes. The table shows you where each replica resides based on the name of the virtual controller associated with the host, along with other details. HPE SimpliVity lets you create backup policies. These backup policies have rules that let you define how often you want to take a backup, where you want to take it to, and how long you want to retain the backup for. Customers can then easily configure if they want to backup locally, to a remote cluster, or to an external storage. Once the backup policy with rules is configured, you can assign the backup policy to a data store so that every VM placed on the data store is automatically assigned the backup policy. You set it and forget it. The great thing is, if the RPO requirements change, you can always edit the backup policy later. Now let's take a look at some of the other operations that can be performed with the HPE SimpliVity plugin. Here is the Storage Efficiency tab for the local cluster. The SimpliVity Cluster Performance tab gives you the throughput, IOPS, and latency for the chosen time period. You can also see the top VM contributors by clicking a data point on these graphs. When you need to create a data store, all you need to do is right-click on the cluster, select all SimpliVity actions, and click on Create Data Store. With the newer releases, you also have the option of creating a single replica data store where the application manages the HA, and SimpliVity does not maintain the two copies of data within the cluster, giving you the flexibility to store your data as you need on your infrastructure. HPE SimpliVity provides a lot of the day-to-day features that are required by customers to manage their infrastructure. Here I have a 500 gig VM, and with 3 simple clicks, I can perform all the basic SimpliVity actions, such as backup, clone, move, setting a backup policy, or searching for backups. For this demo, I'm going to clone a virtual machine. Just provide the name of the clone and finish. As you can see here, the clone of this virtual machine finished very quickly. This is because HPE SimpliVity optimizes the data, and all it's really doing is presenting the VM on the presentation layer. As such, the VM is readily available. We can now power on the VM and start leveraging it for any operation. One of the best things about SimpliVity is that you can clone a 1 TB VM in less than 60 seconds. You can take a native SimpliVity backup and also restore from that backup in less than 60 seconds. All of this is powered by a powerful and efficient data virtualization platform. Now let's take a couple of backups. Right-click the VM, select all HPE SimpliVity actions, backup virtual machine, and notice how simple this is. I don't have to do a lot of configurations. All we need to do is choose the cluster to take the backup in. It could be the native SimpliVity cluster or an external storage. Let's do a local backup and then backup the same VM to the remote cluster. Another great feature with HPE SimpliVity is that each SimpliVity backup is independent of each other. That means even if a VM is deleted, SimpliVity backups will still exist on the infrastructure. Let's look at this in action. I'm going to power off the VM, delete from disk, and once the VM has been deleted, let's go back to my remote cluster to see if the backup exists. Right-click the cluster, search Backups, and here I can see the backup we just took. I'm going to the Backup Actions, Restore Virtual Machine, and all you need to do is choose the data store where you want the new VM to be. I'll choose the Brisbane data store, give it a name, and restore. And in no time, we have the new VM available for any further operation. This proves that every SimpliVity VM or backup is independent of each other, and all the data is always deduplicated. Finally, let's look at a few other operations we currently support. At the cluster level, select all SimpliVity actions and you can quickly register an external store. HPE SimpliVity lets you connect external storage such as HPE Store1 Stores, HPE Cloud Bank Stores, or HPE Cloud Volumes Backup Store, which you can perform optimized and efficient backup, restore, and catalyst copies natively from HPE SimpliVity. Now we also support HPE Store1's data immutability. You can also see registered a Microsoft Azure Cloud Bank Store. For compliance purposes, you can generate backup reports from the SimpliVity cluster or go to the external storage and click on Generate Backup Report. That brings us to the end of this demo. Thank you for watching.